Today I want to talk to you about how to get to 10k a month, or whatever number it is, and just doing the maths backwards in order to get to that point. So we're just going to break it down exactly what that looks like. So let's say you're selling a £2,000 package. If we're selling a £2,000 package, we need 5 clients. It's that simple. There you go, we're finished. I'm kidding. Hello, my name's Daniel Spence and I run Automation X, which is an automation agency that builds really cool automations and lead generation. So now you need to work out, okay, how many clients do you need? So if we've got, let's say, a 30% close rate, we need to have 15 booked meetings in order to get roughly 33% of them closed. So we need 15 meetings. This can be in a month, this can be in however long as it's going to take you to do it. If you want to do it in 2 days, then just do the maths accordingly. You need 15 meetings. Okay, so the next thing is, how are you going to get those booked meetings? It might be cold calls, it might be cold email, it might be LinkedIn messages, it might be Facebook groups. There's like a million ways you can go about doing it. I would normally recommend picking one that you know works in your niche and like absolutely dominating at it. If you can't pick one and you want to do a couple, then by all means do. We normally test like 4 or 5 for a niche and just kind of like dabble in that, and then best case we end up with something like this that works, and then you just double down on it and then you can get to those 15 meetings. For the sake of argument, I'm going to pick cold email for this just because it's a nice big numbers and it can kind of give you a rough idea of like how many emails you need to send, and I know these figures off the top of my head. So let's say we need 15 meetings. If we get a 1% reply rate, let's say even 1 in 10, so a 10% of the 1% reply rate is actually positive. So we're working on a 0.1. Follow me for loads more tips. 0.1% positive reply rate. So if we need, it's going to take us 1,000 emails to get 1 booked meeting. Equals 1 booked meeting. It's literally just the case of sending 15,000 emails. I guess that's actually, if you're sending like, you're going to need 15,000 contacts. If you're sending 4 emails, and just times it by 4. If you're sending 10 emails, times it by 10. But then you can work out the maths of like, okay, if I'm sending 15,000 emails, I need 15,000 contacts. Really, we're going to send it 21 days of the month. So if we just do 15,000 divided by 21, divided by 21, that gives us 741 emails that need to be sent a day. Emails per day. That is if we're sending 30 per inbox, which most of the big providers out there recommend. And you can kind of scale them up, and it's a bit of a guess game. Like, I don't know anyone who's sending 30. Well, some people get away with sending like hundreds, but it depends on how warm your inbox is. All of these other things that you can use to improve that. So let's do 30 times, 741 divided by 30. That gives us, we need 24.7, so we'll call it 25 email accounts. To send from each day. Follow me for loads more tips. So simply I need 25 email accounts, warm, ready to go, and constantly sending. And then that kind of gets you to the point of kind of what's next. You're going to have to pull some leads, set up emails, and basically just ensure that you're doing that every single day. Make sure that your close rate's on track and kind of just log the metrics, and then it's literally just a matter of time. The other thing is, like, I've worked this out per day, 741 emails, which is really not a lot. And then kind of go from there. You can scale it up. If you want to get to 20k a month, double it. If you want to get to 100k a month, 10x it. It's really that simple. We can do another version just so that it builds in a little bit more. Let's say you're doing cold calling. From 100 calls you get 7 booked meetings, which is low, but you want to be lowering it, like measuring these as low kind of metrics and stuff like that, so that if you then phone 100 people and get 14 booked meetings, amazing. Worst case, you're now ahead of schedule. Nothing to lose, no tears, you'll be okay. One of the things I didn't mention was show up rate. We don't really have any issues with show up rate, but I know that it can be a bit of an issue, so factor that in as well. So you might actually need like 20 booked meetings because you know 5 of them aren't going to show. We'll factor it in this time. So we get 100 calls equals 7 meetings. Let's say we want to get 20. If I just divide 100 by 7 by 100, well, 100, no, 100 divided by 7, we get 14.28, so we'll just we'll go for 15, always round up. So follow me for loads more tips. For every 15 calls, we get 1 booked meeting. 1 meeting, we want 20 of them, 20 meetings, which equals 300 cold calls. It's that simple. That's factoring in that 5 won't show up, and then you're going to close 5 in 15, same as before. And it's literally just that kind of simple to make sure that all of your clients are within those kind of metrics. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. If you've got any questions or kind of like don't know what these numbers are, then by all means use mine for these two. But if you're going to do cold DMs or whatever, you basically want to test it on as big a period as you possibly can, because there's going to be room for margins of error here. Like we're doing 0.1% positive reply rate, which you'd have to do something really fairly wrong to end up at that kind of scale. Chances are your emails will begin to spam or something else like that. That's going to be really a big kick in the teeth. So do it pessimistically, do it as if it's all doom and gloom and you're never going to get there and it's all terrible, because it will simply just help you get there much quicker. I don't really think there's anything else to add. When you're kind of coming up with these numbers, look at as much data as humanly possible. If you want to do every single one of your sales calls, including that first one that went so terribly that you don't want to think about, log all of them and then work out what percentage you've closed. It might be a 10% close rate. And then you can also look at where you're getting bottlenecks, because if we say that actually you close 1 in 10, we, instead of needing 15 meetings, we need 50, which then drastically changes all of this, because instead of like we need to send 50,000 emails, which times that by 4 for how many actually we need to send, and not just to contacts, then like your emails per day realistically is going to be like more than, well, nearly 10 times that. Follow me for loads more tips. So there's factors within it that you can change, and the closer to the actual sale, so the top bit here, the kind of like higher leverage it is to change. Whereas if you go further towards the bottom, it's like if you increase the number of your close rate on emails by, let's say you double it, and we're now getting 0.2%, like it's still like fairly marginal. Whereas if you're just able to increase it by 10% on booked meetings, then all of a sudden actually we only need like 13. And like it just scales. So think about that when you go through, look for the bottlenecks, find out where you're limited, and then kind of like just simply remove your bottlenecks as quickly as possible and do the maths. And now if you've decided this is going to be your option, that is it. You now always send 741 emails a day. There's no excuse. No, it's a bank holiday, oh I can't be bothered. Realistically you'll be using an email tool that will send it anyway. And you're going to need 25 email accounts to do that, so just go buy them, warm them up, get them ready. Yeah, you're going to have to wait 2 weeks, but try this for 2 weeks and then you'll know what the figures are if you ever need to do cold calling. But yeah, any questions, let me know. I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.